All right, Apostles' Creed class, I'm back with another question and answer video. So the question today that came up in class was, talk to us about the word order in John 10:30. It was observed that the English translation, the ESV, says, I and the Father are one. And we might more naturally in English say the Father and I are one. So what's going on? Well, Greek is a little bit different from English, where word order does not determine the meaning or the function of the words. So I gave the example in class, Jason hits the wall. Jason is the subject because it's first, and the wall is the direct object. But if I say the wall hits Jason, now the wall becomes the subject, and Jason becomes the direct object. So word order matters. But in Greek, the words, the nouns, have different cases that determine their function in the sentence. So Jason, if it's the nominative case, is always the subject, no matter where it goes. And the wall, if it's in the dative case, is always the object, no matter where it goes. So the wall hits Jason and Jason hits the wall, if you think about the word order, doesn't matter. Okay? So Greek functions this way. Now, in the case of John 10, verse 30, our English translation, I and the Father are one, does a great job of capturing the literal sense translation of the text. So the Greek is actually in that same order. Jesus says, I and the Father, one are. Now, a typical Greek sentence would start with the verb. So he's actually making a point by saying, I and the Father are one. Right? Because normally it would say, are one, I and the Father, kind of like Yoda is talking. And so Jesus is making a point that I and the Father are one. Now, he could have also said the Father and I are one. He's even elevating himself like, hey, I really am one with the Father, right? And in this case, they're saying, well, we're going to stone you because of blasphemy because you claim to be God. Well, he kind of makes that point clear in how he structures the sentence. Now, another example might be from Galatians 2, verse 12. And here's what the English ESV says. Before certain men came from James, he was eating with the Gentiles. That's the English translation. Now, the Greek there, he was eating with the Gentiles, makes perfect sense to us. But the Greek is meta ton ethnon sunethein. With the Gentiles, he was eating. So Paul, by moving the with the Gentiles ahead of the verb, is actually making the point that he wants to highlight that. It's like he was saying, with the Gentiles he was eating. And that was outrageous that he would be eating with the Gentiles. So our English translation fixes the word order, but it loses a little bit of the emphasis, the nuance of it. Now, most of the time, that nuance is not critical for understanding the text, and we like to put it into a natural English word order because that's more understandable and accessible. But as you dig into the scriptures, and technical commentaries will do this, they'll kind of highlight some of those things about the word order. And you might even be able to get that in like an interlinear Bible if you ever wanted to pick one up. They're Greek and English together, so Greek on one line and then the English translation. That'll typically follow the Greek order and give you the English underneath, so you can kind of get a sense for that. Anyway, great question. Thanks for asking, and I'll be back with another answer video soon.